Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, this is the directions and a couple of tips for your Google slideshow presentation. This is the summarizes everything that you've learned in this unit. So instead of taking a test or writing a paper, you're going to be doing this slideshow project. So please take some notes, pay attention here, rewatch this if you need to, so that you can make sure that you get the best grade possible. And show me what you know. All right, this is the title page here, as you can see. I'll get back to this in a minute. What I want to do is flip over to the rubric. So you should have this in front of you. Okay, I'll have passed this out, and this should be in your folder. So you should have this out while you're working and reference it. Excuse me, the prohibition slideshow here. Obviously, put your name and period here. I'll be grading off of this and giving it back to you. This is your chance to show what you learned from the DBQ. Follow the guidelines below. Requirements. So you need to have these things, okay? Your intro slide. This is a piece of cake. Title of your presentation, your name, date, class, and period. I want all of them, and I want them in that order, okay? Because it's easier for me to grade. So if you're out of order on that, take off a point or two. You don't want to lose points for something like that. Let's take a look at it real quick. So you can see here the title, name, date, class, period, okay, all on there. If you have room for a little picture, that's fine, but you don't need it. The other thing that I want to make sure that you have is I want your last name and then the title prohibition and then your period. So whatever your last name is, Curtis, prohibition is the title, period 3, okay, exactly like that. So change that when you open up a new slideshow, okay. All right, back to the rubric. So then you need, altogether guys, you're going to have 6 slides, as you can see here. Very similar. You've done this before, so I'm going to try to cruise through this pretty quick here. 5 points for slide number 2 is intro and background. You always want to give a little, in a paper or a slideshow, a little information, because you have to assume that people don't know much about it, okay? So pretend like you're doing this presentation for a little brother or sister, or your parent maybe doesn't know what prohibition is. Okay, so on this one you need to give background info about prohibition. What was it? What does it mean? What does define it? Where did this happen? When did this happen? So how long did it take place? What were the years? Why was it enacted? That means why did they decide to enact, put prohibition into place? And then this is underlined because it's very important. Restate the question and state your thesis and roadmap. Roadmap is just basically the outline of what you're going to be talking about, your reasons, which are these ones below. So let's take a look at that on the slideshow. Okay, so this is my background slide. Just title it background info or whatever you want, but something that lets me know, lets the audience know this is you're giving background. Okay, you can see a picture over here. Try to include a picture that relates to the information. Prohibition began in blank. Obviously you would fill that in, but I left that like that because I want you to find that out if you don't already know it. It lasted blank years. It was enacted to stop blank. Okay, what were some of the things that prohibition was supposed to stop? However, over time, people began to see that prohibition did not solve these problems, but it created many more. Why did America change its mind about prohibition and repeal it? You can see here I'm restating the DBQ essential question, and then here is my roadmap. So this is my thesis and roadmap. America repealed prohibition for 3 reasons: crime, growing disrespect for the law, and economic reasons. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd I'm asking you to not go word for word what I've written here, okay? Make it your own. Obviously, yours is going to look a little bit like mine, but I don't want to see a direct copy of mine because that's copying, okay? So there you go, you're done with, and then when you go back to your, rubric here, you can just kind of check off that you've done that. All right, next slide, slide 3. This is reason number 1 or bucket number 1. Okay, remember I'm going to go to this page real quick, and we'll have talked about this in class, but you've got 3, these are your 3 reasons. Reason 1, 2, and 3, bucket 1, 2, and 3, same thing. In bucket 1 has to do with crime. So these documents deal with crime and how prohibition didn't solve the crime problem but made it worse. Bucket 2, let's go ahead and write these up there. This is bucket 1, 2, 3. If this were a paper, that'd be paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. Paragraph 2 or slide, this is a slide here, is lack of respect for the law. Documents C and D show that. If we aren't respecting the law, then what happens to the other laws in our society? Okay, do they break down? Do people, will they follow those if prohibition law is a joke? So talk about that in that slide. And then the final reason or bucket slide is economics. That's money. Document E talks all about that. Why was prohibition a bad idea financially? Okay, how did it hurt our country financially? Okay, so reference those things there. Back to the slide show. I'm only going to do this first one with you because I want you guys to be finding the other ones on your own. So this is on reason number 1. You can see, obviously, I have it titled Reason 1, Crime. Nice little picture that relates here. You can see the political cartoon and talks about bootleggers here. This guy's buying some moonshine here. It says, Prohibition caused an increase in crime. Bootleggers infest the halls and corridors of Congress and ply their trade there. This was from document D. Hopefully you remember that. Prohibition was meant to stop crime, but it actually created a black market for criminals, to make and sell illegal booze. Okay, so you can see if you go back to the rubric for this one here, I've got a little mini thesis, a baby thesis. What did prohibition do or cause? Prohibition caused an increase of crime. Plain and simple, right there. Back to this. So there's one thing I've got checked off. The next thing, evidence. One piece. I only need one piece of evidence from the documents, and you can see that I've got that one piece of evidence right here, and I've got it referenced in cited in document D. Okay, so that's important. Argument. Connect the evidence to the baby thesis. So I am doing that here. Prohibition was meant to stop crime, but it actually created a black market for criminals to make and sell illegal booze. All right, so I'm connecting the little thesis statement here with the evidence here, and this is the connection, okay? And then the last thing it says, interesting picture that relates to the information, and obviously you can see that's here. All right, keep the pictures reasonable. I don't want to see gangsters shooting other gangsters' heads off and that kind of thing. Keep it school appropriate, all right? So we're about to be done here, guys. I'm not going to go through the rest with you because I didn't do the complete slideshow because that's for you to do. Reason 2 or bucket 2, you can see I've got that here, but I don't have it filled in. Reason 2, disrespect for the law. That's where you guys need to fill in that section here. Reason 3, okay, and here I've got a new slide. Reason 3, economics. And finally, then a conclusion. Restate the main idea and summarize your slides. So you're going to have that in here. Just title it conclusion. Sum it all up, tie it together. If you can fit a picture, great. And then last but not least, this isn't an extra slide, but this is overall effort, style, editing. Make sure your pictures are edited. It doesn't look sloppy. No spelling errors. You can see right here I made a mistake and I would take off a point for or maybe a half a point or something because I need an S in there. So just double check your work, okay? And I make mistakes as well, and then I need to go back and edit that, just like you guys do. So that's it, okay? You've got a total of 6 slides. I think this is pretty straightforward. Obviously, you can see me in person if you have questions about this, but that's the assignment, 35 points, and hopefully that makes sense for you guys, okay? Good luck.